Hello friends, and welcome back to our channel. Now you all must have gone through several videos which I have posted regarding the pharmacology of various drugs, but there is a very big question in front of many students regarding how to study this particular subject, pharmacology. Since this particular subject is a very vast one, you need to study n number of drugs under this particular subject. So most of the students get confused as to how to start with this particular subject, what to focus more on, and how exactly you should go about, how to remember things. So that's a great difficulty which many of the students face. But to tell you, if you study this particular subject appropriately, you will never find it difficult. So there are certain points which you should remember when you start studying this particular subject. So in this particular video, I shall give you some guidance regarding how to go about this particular subject. So already what pharmacology is, how the pharmacology of various drugs it is presented. This we have already covered in several lectures. So this will be a generalized discussion in which I will give you certain important points which you should remember while studying this particular subject. We shall see how exactly this particular pharmacology of a particular drug is presented. Even I will tell you what you should focus on when you are studying a particular chapter in pharmacology. What you should focus more on, what is more important, on which you should be concentrating more. What are the different types of questions which can be asked in examination? So how the questions are framed, we will talk a little bit on that, and finally we shall discuss how to answer these questions. Many of the times students do not know exactly how to represent their answers, or how to write the answers, what is the appropriate manner in which you can write your answers. So we shall discuss in brief all these particular points. I am sure that at the end of this session, this particular question will be answered. That is how to study the subject pharmacology. So let us begin. So before going into the certain important points, let us see what pharmacology exactly is. Of course, you are all aware of what pharmacology is. So it is the science of drugs. So you study everything about the drugs which are used in the treatment or diagnosis or improvement of the health. So all such drugs you study in this particular subject, pharmacology. So as you are all aware of, basically this particular subject is divided into two aspects. First one is pharmacokinetics, that is what body does to the drug. So when your drug, it is a xenobiotic, it's a foreign substance. So once it enters the body, what exactly your body is doing with that drug, how it is handling it. So you study the absorption, distribution, metabolism, protein binding, if at all it is there, storage, and the excretion of the drug. So exactly how your drug will move across your body, right from the entry point till the exit of the drug from the body. So everything you study in this particular pharmacokinetics. So there are several parameters which we study in this particular aspect, pharmacokinetics. And the next aspect of pharmacology is pharmacodynamics. So pharmacodynamics means what drug does to the body. So now your drug is entering the body. So it will obviously make some alterations. It will bind to certain biomolecules, it will interact, it will induce some conformational changes, and of course it will show some effect. One of the effects will be the beneficial effect for which it is utilized. Okay, so all the aspects relating to what changes your drug is making in your body, how it is altering, everything is covered under pharmacodynamics. Okay, now let us begin with certain guidance regarding what are those important things which you should keep in mind when you are studying this particular subject. Okay, some important points which you should look into. Okay, that is first one, revise the anatomy, physiology and pathophysiology of the various systems. Okay, so in this particular subject you all must have studied about the various systems of the body. There are 11 systems in our body, so you all must have studied about all those systems in this particular subject. Okay, anatomy, it deals with what are the different structural features of that particular system, what all are included, what are the different types of cells it is made up of. Okay, physiology will deal with the functions of that particular system, how exactly it functions, okay, to take care of your body, okay, or how it is handling the normal functioning of the body, okay, role of that particular system. And finally pathophysiology, which is of course introduced as a separate subject now. So pathophysiology, it deals with the diseases or disorders which are associated with these particular systems. Okay, so in case of cardiovascular system, you all must have studied about the hypertension, arrhythmia, then arteriosclerosis, coronary artery diseases, congestive heart failure. So these are all the pathological states which are associated with the CVS. Okay, so you need to revise these particular things about the systems. Now why do you require this? Because in this particular subject you are going to study about the drugs which may have actions and effects on various systems of our body. Obviously it will interact and it will produce certain changes. Okay, so you need to study about your systems first. You need to have that basic knowledge of what is the anatomy of your body, okay, what is the physiology of those different systems. Okay, because unless and until you know the anatomy and the physiology, you will not be able to understand the pathological changes. Okay, what are those changes which are taking place in the normal functioning of the body? That is dealt with in the pathophysiology. Okay, and unless and until you know the pathophysiology, it won't be possible for you to understand the treatment of that particular condition. So basically this subject talks about the drugs which are focusing towards mainly the treatment of certain diseases. Of course there are many other purposes for which the drugs are utilized. It's not only for the treatment, it may be used for the prevention also, okay, or for improvement of the health also. Okay, so basically you should know about these different diseases. Okay, unless and until you know what is the cause, you know what is the pathophysiology, how your body functioning is getting altered, how your body systems are getting altered in that particular condition, you will not be able to understand how exactly your drug is acting, your mechanism of action. It should affect that particular target, okay, which is getting affected in the pathophysiology. So you should know all these first. Okay, so these you all have already studied in your lower classes. So make sure that whenever you are studying a particular system onto which the drug is acting, for example, there are different sections which you study. Drugs acting on the central nervous system, for example. So when you are studying the drugs acting on the central nervous system, you need to know about the CNS. You need to know about its anatomy, physiology and the pathophysiology related to this particular system. Then the next point which you should remember is to study the basic pharmacology thoroughly. Okay? So as you are all aware of this particular subject, you study in 3 parts. Okay, pharmacology 1, pharmacology 2 and pharmacology 3. So this first pharmacology 1, it is introduced in the second year, that is in the 4th semester. So in this particular part, you will be taught all the basics about the pharmacology. Okay, so what is the history, how it was developed, okay, what are the important terms, okay, then pharmacokinetics, what it is, what is pharmacodynamics. So all these will be taught to you in details. Okay, what are the different aspects, what are the different parameters. So you need to be thorough with this particular part, because you will be utilizing all these terms in your actual pharmacology of a individual drug. Okay, so you need to be thorough with your basics. Your basics should be absolutely clear. See, if you do not understand what exactly are the different reactions which are involved in the metabolism, you won't be able to understand what are the types of interactions which are taking place at the drug level. Okay, so you need to know about the basics. Okay, that should be very much clear for you to understand the actual pharmacology of your drugs. Then the next important point which you should look into is that there are certain chapters which are interrelated to each other. Okay, there are certain things which you study in one particular chapter, and that knowledge will be utilized in another chapter. Say for example, drugs which are acting on the ANS, autonomic nervous system, okay, your sympathetic system or the parasympathetic system. Okay, so you have 4 chapters over there. The parasympathomimetics, parasympatholytics, sympathomimetics and sympatholytics. Okay, so most of the drugs which you study over here, these will be helpful when you study the drugs acting on the CVS. Okay, so likewise, this is one of the example which I have given. Okay, so chapters are interrelated to each other. Say for example, even if you take the case of parasympathomimetics and parasympatholytics, unless and until you understand parasympathomimetics, what are the actions, which are the receptors, you won't be able to understand the parasympatholytics. Okay, so there is a particular sequence you need to study sometimes. Okay, so unless and until you understand one particular chapter, you won't be able to understand the next chapter which is related to it. Okay, then another important point which you should remember over here is you should study line by line. Okay, so whatever you are studying, there is nothing in this particular subject which you can skip on. Okay, because this is a very important subject, okay, which deals with the drugs. Okay, so you need to know everything about a particular drug. Okay, especially this is true if you are preparing for your GPAT. Okay, any question can be asked from any smallest thing in the book. Okay, so if you study line by line, that will be better. Try to understand things and study line by line. Then this is very important. Study regularly. Most of the students, what they do is they do not study the subject regularly or repeatedly. Okay, so don't keep on pulling the chapters. Okay, this is not a subject to be studied at the last moment. Okay, you need to remember so many things in this particular subject. So a regular study is required for this particular subject right from the beginning, right from day one it is taught. Okay, and as far as possible, repeated study is required. Okay, no last moment study. Okay, otherwise you will totally mess up with the number of drugs. You will get confused if you keep studying at the last moment. You should be regular with this particular subject. Then there are no shortcuts for this particular subject. Okay, there is nothing called pharmacology in short. Okay, each and every aspect about a drug is important. You just can't skip on the pharmacokinetics of a particular drug. So there is no shortcut for this particular subject. So that's why you need to study the particular subject right from the beginning and regularly and repeatedly. Okay? Then keep a habit of writing your own notes. Okay? Nowadays what students do is they go on xeroxing the notes. Okay? Or there are certain students who they purchase the books. Even I did it. Okay, I had purchased the books, important books which are required for a particular subject. Okay. Most of the times when we study a particular subject in parts, a particular entire book needs to be studied, right, over a period of maybe 1 or 2 years. So it is advisable to have your own copy. No doubt it will help you even in future, even when you pass out. Okay, even with this particular subject especially, there is no harm in keeping your own books, but keep a habit of writing your own notes, though you have your own copy. Now why this is important? Why writing your own notes is important? Okay, there is a difference between the reading a particular subject and writing a particular subject. Okay, now when you read something, you read it only once, right? Now I have written this particular sentence. Write your own notes. So when I read it, I can read it very easily and very fast, right? But you all must be aware of about your brain reading this. When you are reading, how it reads a particular sentence. Does it read the entire word alphabet by alphabet? When you read it, you read this word as a whole, right? You all must be aware of. Or do you read it WRITE, right? No, you don't do that, right? But when you write something, you write it alphabet by alphabet. You read it once. When you are writing the same statement again, your mind is reading it alphabet by alphabet when you are writing it. Correct? So that fits that particular word or particular sentence in your mind. Okay, so that becomes easier for you to remember when you write something. So even though you have your notes, okay, if you have notes or you have xeroxed from your friends, make a habit of writing it on your own. Okay, that will be better. Rather, referring more than one book is also advisable. Certainly one particular book may not have everything about a particular drug or a particular topic. This is applicable for even the other subjects also. Okay, so this is very important. Write your own notes. Then do not just go on by hearting the things without understanding the concept. That's very important, because there are certain students who just go on by hearting the things. They have the habit. In the schools also, the children have that habit of by hearting things. You just go on remembering things, mugging up the things. But that's actually not the correct way to study this particular subject. You need to understand the concept first and then go on repeatedly reading it. Once you understand something, you will never forget it. But if you go on by hearting the things, then there are chances of forgetting. You might become blank during the papers if you do that. Okay, so first understand the concept and then go for remembering. Of course, there is a remembering in this particular subject. You need to by heart certain things, but don't just go on by hearting the things without understanding the concept. That's my point. Okay, first try to understand it and then try to remember the things. Okay. Then this is again a very important point. Classifications. Classifications are the heart of pharmacology. Okay. So I personally give more focus on the classifications. I usually advise my students to be thorough with the classifications. You will not realize the importance of this when you are into your B.Pharm, but once you pass out, you will remember the importance of this. Okay, because whenever you go out for interviews, you might be asked about the drugs. So if you are thorough with your classifications, you might be able to tackle the questions over there also. Okay, because classification of any particular type of drugs, it will tell you about all the possible drugs which are included under that particular chapter. Okay, and my advice will be, study the entire classifications. Usually what students do is they skip on 2 to 3 drugs. So supposing if under one particular class there are 6 to 7 drugs, students try to remember only 2 to 3. So what happens when you try to remember only 2 to 3, at the time of exam only you might recall only 1. Okay, so usually what my advice will be, you learn the complete classification, because if you know the classifications thoroughly, I think 25% of your work will be done, because usually the classifications are based on the mechanisms of actions. They will sometimes talk about the use of that particular drug, and I feel unless and until you know which drug falls under which particular chapter, you will not be able to write anything about that drug, right? Okay. Supposing the drug levodopa, if I don't know under what classification it belongs to, I will not be able to write anything about that particular drug, right? Okay, so classifications are very, very important. Okay, when you start studying, first thing you should go for is the classification. See to it that you are thorough with the classification. So now, how you can remember these particular classifications? There are a number of drugs which will be listed out, right? In a particular chapter, there might be round about 30 to 50 drugs which are listed down over there. Okay, so how to remember all these names of the drugs? Okay, so for that matter, as I have told you, you should study regularly. At the last moment, if you try to remember all the names of the drugs, it is not possible. Okay, so from the day one, I feel is you should start with the classifications. Okay, so repeated reading of the classifications is needed. Okay, you should go on reading it first. Okay, and while reading, okay, you can correlate it. Now, under a particular class, there may be a number of drugs. Okay, so try to remember the first alphabet. Okay, try to correlate. If there are 4 drugs, say if the first letter, okay, or the first alphabet, if it talks about all the 4 drugs, if you take the first alphabet, it might turn out to be some word, okay, like cost or dust or something like that. So you can correlate and you can try to remember the names of the drugs. Okay, so this can be done. Now, while you are reading, one care you should take is that your pronunciation should be proper. Okay, so unless and until you pronounce it properly, you will not be able to write a proper spelling. Okay, most of this time the students are not able to write the correct spelling of a particular drug. Okay, now propranolol, for example. Okay, if you pronounce it properly, you will be able to write it properly. Correct? Okay, most of the time students end up writing it as propanol. That's because you are not reading it very carefully. Okay, then this is the exercise which you should do. Write the classification. Now, once you have read and tried to remember it repeatedly, write down the classification. Write down in the sense, not copy down, but try to recall and write it down. Okay, when you stress over your mind, your mind will remember it. Okay, so try to write the classifications. Once you have done with the reading and remembering, just take a pen and paper and try to write the classifications. So that will be better. Okay, you will be able to remember it in a better way. Okay, so once the first time you might not be able to write it correctly, read it again. Okay, read it twice, thrice, 5 times. Okay, and then you can go for writing. So be perfect with your classification. So these are some of the important points which you should remember, okay, while you start studying your subject pharmacology. Okay, so once you follow all these, okay, it will be better. It will help you to better understand or better remember this particular subject in a better way. Okay, now let's move on to the next point, how the pharmacology is presented. Okay, so what are the different sections into which it is divided? When you say a pharmacology of a particular drug, as you all aware of, it has two aspects, pharmacokinetics and the pharmacodynamics, right? So when a pharmacology of a particular drug is discussed, what are those different aspects which are discussed? Okay, so first of all, pharmacokinetics will be discussed, in which absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, or the binding, if it is significant, it will be discussed. Okay, so in the sense, all the parameters pertaining to all these parameters of the pharmacokinetics, that is the relating to your absorption, how you will measure it in terms of bioavailability. Okay, so likewise, okay, even the distribution, how it is getting distributed, whether it enters the brain or no, whether it can cross the blood-brain barrier or no, how exactly it is getting distributed, what is the volume of distribution. Okay, that will help you to understand how exactly the drug is distributed throughout the body. Okay, by looking at the patient, you will not be able to know where exactly your drug has reached. Okay, so it should reach your site of action, right? So distribution will give an idea about where exactly your drug is distributed. Metabolism, it will tell you how exactly your drug is getting handled by the body. Okay, whether it is getting converted to any active metabolite, inactive metabolite, okay, or whether it is getting excreted out unchanged. What are the different enzymes involved in it? So you need to know all this to understand the interactions when two drugs are given together, all these aspects. Okay, there may be interactions at any possible point, pharmacokinetics or even pharmacodynamic level also. Okay, even the excretion, the way by which the drug is moving out of the body. Okay, what is the binding? Okay, how much % of your drug is getting bound? Okay, so that is also important. So apart from this, pharmacodynamics of the drug will be discussed. Okay, so under this pharmacodynamics, pharmacological actions of that particular drug on various systems of the body will be discussed. Okay, so not only the organ of target, supposing if you are giving a particular drug to be acting in the CNS, it's not necessary that you should study about the actions only in the CNS. Your drug can act on any systems of the body, any organ, right, or any functions of the body. So you need to know about all those actions. What are those different kinds of actions which your drug can produce? Where exactly it will interact and what type of effects it will show, okay, after interacting. Next important point is the mechanism of action. Okay, now here you study the different actions. Now in this particular point you study the mechanism of action. How exactly this particular actions are produced. Now in this point you will be focusing more on the purpose for which the drug is used. Okay, so if you are studying a drug which is used for the congestive heart failure, say Digitalis, that's very important drug, first line treatment, right, for congestive heart failure. So the Digitalis might be acting on number of systems, but in mechanism of action, what you will be studying? You will be studying about how exactly it is tackling that particular situation, how it is helping to relieve congestive heart failure. So that mechanism will be discussed over here. Then next pharmacodynamic aspect is the adverse effects. Okay, now all the effects which are produced by the drug might not be beneficial. Okay, so it's not even possible that only particular desired effects will be shown by your drug. There are number of effects because your drug will act on a number of systems, right? So it's not necessary that if your drug has to reach brain, it will go only to the brain. No, your entire body will get exposed, right? Unless and until it is given locally, to act locally. Okay, so when you are administering something systemically, your whole body will get exposed. So it's not the only one effect which is shown by the drug, and drug will show a number of effects. Okay, so there will be certain beneficial effects and there will be some unwanted effects. Those are the adverse effects. Okay, so that also you need to study. Sometimes you need to report the adverse effects, because you and I who are studying this particular subject will know what are the adverse effects which are shown by this particular drug. Okay, now say for example the anticholinergic drugs. They will produce the talking difficulty, swallowing difficulty, dryness of our mouth, okay, dryness of the eye. Okay, so we know why it is happening, but the common person, the layman, will not understand. So they should be aware of all these effects also. Okay, then next pharmacodynamic aspect is the interactions. Now, as you all are all aware of, nowadays a single drug is not administered. Okay, but at a time multiple drug therapy may be given to a particular person. So when two drugs are given at the same time, there are chances of interactions. They might interact at pharmacokinetic level or pharmacodynamic level. Okay, so you need to know that how they are interacting. If the interactions are significant, you should not administer them together. So it should be advised. Okay, then the contraindications. Okay, so which are the drugs which are not supposed to be given in a particular situation. Say for example non-selective beta blockers. They block the beta receptors 1, 2 non-selectively. Okay, they will block both the types of receptors. So beta 2 receptors generally mediate the bronchodilation. So if you give beta blockers, non-selective beta blockers in asthma patients, what will happen? It will block the beta 2 receptors and it can precipitate the bronchospasm, and that can be dangerous. Asthma attacks can be precipitated. So that's why non-selective beta blockers are contraindicated in asthma patients. So you need to know what are those situations in which certain drugs are contraindicated. That means you are not supposed to administer such drugs. Okay, so all these needs to be studied. And lastly, the uses of the drugs will be discussed. What are the purpose for which these drugs are utilized? Now, one particular drug may have multiple uses. Okay, so all those uses you need to know. What are those different situations or pathological conditions in which you can utilize that particular drug? Okay, so this is how exactly the pharmacology of a particular drug is presented. Okay, now how exactly the pharmacology is discussed in the books. Now usually if you can see a particular chapter, first thing which will be discussed is a brief introduction and it will have a definition. Okay, supposing if you consider a particular chapter, anti-Parkinsonian drug. So what are anti-Parkinsonian drugs? You should know that first. So anti-Parkinsonian drugs are those which are beneficial in the treatment of Parkinson's disease. Okay, so these are utilized therapeutically in the treatment of Parkinson's disease. So every chapter will have its definition. Okay, so what that particular chapter talks about, that will be given in this particular definition. So you need to know this first. Okay, so usually the books will have a brief introduction and the definition. Next comes the classification. Classification of different drugs. There are number of drugs which are developed to treat a particular condition. So what are those different drugs? To which class they belong to? They are classified. Again, each class might have further sub-classifications also. Okay, and then the examples will be given. Okay, so classification is quite important, as I have told you. Next, in most of the chapters, you will find one particular prototype drug which will be discussed in detail. Okay, so it's not possible to discuss the pharmacology of each and every drug in detail. Okay, so you will have, if you go on discussing the detailed pharmacology of each and every drug, there will be a number of volumes of your book. Okay, if you sit to write the pharmacology of all the drugs. Okay, so usually in a particular chapter there will be a prototype drug. Okay, prototype drug is something which is discovered the first in that particular type of drug. Okay, so that will be discussed in detail. Its actions, so whatever we have seen, the pharmacology, how it is presented. So everything will be discussed in detail. The pharmacological actions, mechanism of action, the interaction, contraindications. Okay, so mostly in most of the chapters, it is not applicable to all the chapters, but most of the chapters will have one particular prototype drug which will be discussed in detail, which will be followed by characteristics of the other drugs. So how they differ from this particular prototype drug. Okay, that will be discussed. Or say for example, in each of the class, one particular drug will be discussed in detail and the characteristics of other drugs will be discussed, how it differs from that particular drug. Okay. Then comes the uses. So most of the times the uses are discussed as a whole. Okay, so for example, uses of anticholinergic drugs, uses of beta blockers, uses of alpha blockers. Okay, so rather than discussing it under individual drugs, a general uses will be discussed. So over there, the uses of all your drugs will be discussed. So more than one drug may be utilized for a particular condition. So all those drugs will be listed. Okay, so these are the uses and these are the drugs from this particular chapter which are utilized in this particular condition. So it will be discussed like that. Okay, so usually the pharmacology is presented in this particular way, or it is discussed in this particular way in most of the books. Okay, now while you study, what you should focus mainly on. Okay, what exactly is important, okay, which might be important from exam point of view. Okay, so I have told you that you should study this particular subject line by line. There is nothing called this part is important, this part is not important. Okay, but what you should focus more on, which is more important, is the definition. As I've told you, for every chapter there will be a definition. That's very important. Classification, as I've told you, of course, that's very important. And the prototype drug. Okay, so these are quite important, even the uses. Okay, so these are quite important on which you should focus more on. Okay, now coming to the types of questions which are asked in the examinations. Okay, so what are those different types of questions? Okay, so in this particular pattern you will have the MCQ type of questions. Okay, partly MCQ types of questions and partly there will be descriptive type of questions. So let us see what are those different types of questions which can be asked, how exactly a question is framed. Okay, so coming to the descriptive part. Okay, as I have told you, definition may be asked. Okay, like say for example, what are anti-Parkinsonian drugs or what are anticholinergic drugs. Okay. Now usually in this particular subject more than one question will be clubbed together. Okay, so you will not find only a question on definition. Okay, so when a descriptive question is asked, 2 to 3 questions will be clubbed together. Say for example, what are anticholinergic drugs, and then add a note on say pharmacological actions of atropine. Okay, so such type of questions will be asked. Or classify anticholinergic drugs, okay, and add a note on mechanism of action and uses of anticholinergic drugs. So such type of questions will be asked. Okay, so they will be clubbed together. So you should be very careful while answering a particular question. Okay, most of the times what students do is they know everything, but they forget to write a part of the question. Okay, so it happens sometimes, okay, because mostly these are clubbed together. Define something, add a note on mechanism of action, or even maybe a pharmacology of a specific drug may also be asked. Okay, say for example, define antiadrenergic drugs and discuss the pharmacology of propranolol. Okay, so a pharmacology of a specific drug may also be added. Okay, so these are the types of descriptive questions which may be asked. Okay, now coming to the MCQs. Okay, so there are MCQs. Now MCQs might include definitions, classifications. Okay, so classification in the sense they may ask you what is the example of a particular class, okay, or which class it belongs to. Okay, examples of a class or class to which a particular drug belongs to. Okay, or pharmacological actions or mechanism of action of a particular drug or use of a particular drug. Okay, so and so drug is used for. 4 options might be given. So anyone might be correct out of that. Okay, or if you know the classifications, you will be easily able to solve these questions. Most of the times the examples of a particular class may be asked. Okay, which of the following is an example of cardioselective beta blocker? Okay, so likewise, depending upon the classifications, the examples might be asked, or you might be asked to which class that particular drug belongs to. Okay, then MCQs might be even on the targets of the drug, where exactly they act. Okay, so apart from this, the justifications. Okay, it may be due to certain actions which may be produced by the drug, so you should be able to justify, or the contraindications, or the adverse effects, or the interactions. Okay, so these are the various aspects on which the MCQs can be asked in the examination. Okay, or sometimes it is also asked like which of the following statement is correct with respect to a particular drug. Okay, so some properties of that particular drug will be given, out of which only one will be correct. Okay, so you need to identify which statement is correct with respect to this particular drug. Okay, then how to write in examinations. Okay, so most of the times students don't write appropriately. Okay, first of all is you should remember to read the questions very carefully, because as I've told you, there will be more than one question which are clubbed. Okay, so sometimes you might miss out one particular part which is asked. So read the questions very carefully. Okay, you may even interpret it in a wrong way. Okay, so adrenoreceptors. If a question is on adrenoreceptors, usually if the classification is asked, students end up writing the classification of adrenergic drugs. Okay, so you need to read the question, what exactly is asked, answer to the point. Whatever is asked, if the pharmacological actions are asked, write only the pharmacological actions. Okay, stick to the point. So for that matter, you need to read the question very, very carefully, what exactly is asked in that particular question. Then this is again very important, write in legible handwriting. Okay, so whoever is reading your answer should also understand. I know the question paper is very vast, you need to cover a lots, okay, in a stipulated period of time, but you need to even write in legible handwriting. Unless and until the person who is reading understands what you are writing, will not be able to give you the marks. So sometimes students lose the marks just because the evaluator is not able to read appropriately what exactly the student wants to say. Okay. Next, the classifications. When you write classifications, as far as possible, write the names of the drugs one below the other. Okay, so don't write it side to side. okay, like how it is written. Write one below the other. Okay, so presentation is also very important. Okay, so when you present things in a proper manner, it will be conveyed in a proper manner. Okay, so it should even look good. Okay, just don't go on writing the in the form of a sentence, the classification. Then, while writing the pharmacology of a particular drug, if a pharmacology of a particular drug is asked, okay, segregate it in terms of different subheadings like pharmacological actions, mechanism of action, pharmacokinetics, interactions, uses. Okay, specifically underline these words so that the person who is reading will be happy to see the presentation. Okay, write the descriptive answers point wise. Okay, the way it is presented over here. Okay, I have presented in the form of different points, right? Usually in the books you will find it, it will not be written in the point form. It will be written in paragraphs. So generally when you are writing in an exam, it's better to write these descriptive answers point wise. That will be that will have a better presentation. Okay, when you put your answers point wise. Okay, then support your answers with neat label diagram wherever necessary. Okay, your question might not ask you to draw the diagrams. Usually in anatomy, physiology, specific diagrams are asked. Okay, but here in pharmacology, nobody is going to ask you diagrams. Okay, specific questions on diagrams will not be there. But wherever possible, support your answers with the diagrams. Specifically, the mechanism of actions will have the different diagrams. So it's better if you draw those diagrams. It becomes a very good presentation if you support your answers with the diagrams. Okay, underline important words. Okay, so whatever important words which you have put up in the descriptive answers, if you have time, just underline those important words. So that will make it a better presentation. Okay, so this is how you can write answers in examination to have a better presentation if you keep all these points in mind. Okay, thank you for watching. I am sure this particular video will benefit you to understand the subject better and to study this particular subject in a proper manner. Thank you very much.